There we go. All right, we've got quorum, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for being here today at the March June 26th Stormwater Task Force meeting. Um, if yeah, I think that's all we need really to get started here. We will go from where's my agenda? There's my agenda. We'll start with public comment. We have a few people here who are not part of our normal meetings. If anybody has anything they would like to start off with, please go ahead and do so now. Otherwise, we'll move right into the bulk of the meeting, which is a discussion of the document we've been provided. That's kind of our guidelines for what we're going to be doing for um, putting together stormwater for the town. How do I adjust this?
I was hoping to bring to the board's attention, it was recently addressed, I believe, in the February meeting, about new construction on Arbor Street. I don't know if this would be the time to do so.
I am not sure, honestly. That may be something that would be more of Bill's wheelhouse, and he unfortunately was not able to make it to this week's meeting.
Okay. Well, I guess my concern is, so this board approved the three houses being put in. I don't know the specific lot of the house numbers. I know they're between 155 and 179 Arbor Street.
Okay.
Um, I guess my concern is, my understanding, the permits and the submission by the builders were just to put three house lots in. Uh,
Oh, I think there's a little mix up. I think you're talking about a stormwater approval, and I think that's through the planning board. Um, sorry, because I recognize this for Arbor Street. I'm on the planning board as well, and I think that what you're looking for was a discussion about the stormwater uh, approvals.
yes.
Yes, that would actually be taken up with the planning board. And they just had their meeting this past Monday. Their next meeting would be July 7th.
Okay. So I had thought that that was part of the Stormwater Task Force had made those approvals at one of these meetings back in February. That was
Oh
one I was
no.
asking for the minutes.
Oh, sure. No. What we are doing here, the Stormwater Task Force, is we're trying to develop a basically a utility that would help develop better develop our town's stormwater systems.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
stormwater approvals are done through our planning board.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, apologize for interrupting, but
Hey,
appreciate
no
the
worries at all.
guidance.
All right, you have a great day.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
Okay, excellent. Yep, totally reasonable mix up. Um, all right. We'll get into this. Nick, I don't know if Bill had a master list of all of our questions. I don't know if he gave that to you or not.
I have a few questions he had sent in an email to me,
Okay.
and it was dated June 2nd. And I'll just rattle them off super quick. Can you provide a
Sure.
list of properties on the multifamily? What's the deal with nonprofits? What are the forests? What does vacant mean? Are those the ones kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Um, has everyone met me before? It's been a while. I went back to my calendar, and I think the last time we met looked like it was last February, February 2024. You look familiar, so I think I've met at least most of you.
I
Yeah, we're the
think,
same people.
yeah,
Okay,
you came in and gave us the basic presentation, kind of a comparison with what some of the other towns were doing. Uh,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, right. But we haven't met since then.
No.
Um, so that's great. I mean, I'm excited that you are still going through the process of adopting a stormwater utility. I think, we're almost there. I think we need like another kind of 6 months just to kind of finish it up.
Sure.
And hopefully you kind of agree. Um, so in the interest of time, what do you want me to talk about tonight? Do you want to just fire off some questions and we can go through it that way? Um,
Um,
I can walk through a little bit more big picture. It's up to you, I guess, how long you want to hear me talk for.
Sure. I think the main thing that we were hoping to address was some of these questions, just things that we weren't sure about or adjustments that we were thinking might be helpful or what the possibility were. Yeah, if we could just go and kind of go through those questions then I suppose, unless Jenny or Renee, if you have any other thoughts you'd like to address.
Yeah, no, I have the questions. So we last met May 29th, and I have some questions. I don't, Tim, do you have the document? It's dated March 17th, 2025. That might help Nick to, because I think we
Okay.
have a few
Yes, I have the March 17th
versions
document.
of this, just to make sure we're looking at the
I
same one, because I have some questions about um,
I have the March 17th, 2025
okay,
stormwater utility report
okay,
in
cool.
front of me here.
Okay.
Kind of wish I had multi-screens right now, but that's okay. I will
Yeah.
do my best. Okay, why don't do you want to just read the question and we can kind of go through it?
Sure. I've got some of them here. I don't know if I have the entire list, but I can go through what I do have. Um, I think we might have sorted this one out ourselves. But what I just have here was what was the what constituted a vacant lot?
Yeah, so so some of those parcels, some of those classifications, I guess. I kind of went back and forth as to do I even include these in the memo because in kind of reading through some of your comments and kind of between the lines, I think there's a little bit of confusion on some of these. So those things like vacant, forest, agricultural, industrial, all of those kind of land use types, like for instance that we have in table 2-1,
Yep.
it's straight from GIS. So it doesn't so the ones that the reason we do that is because we want to base everything off of like the single family residential properties to figure out how much impervious area is basically at your average residential property, right? That way each of the residential properties kick in whatever we decide for an annual fee, $60, $80, $100, whatever it is, right? So that's kind of the residential. And then kind of everything else, the land use type doesn't really matter. It
Okay.
only depends on how much impervious area you have. So what gets weird is there ends up being some weird things like properties that are classified as vacant or forest that for whatever reason are classified as those land uses, but may still have impervious area. And I don't know why that is.
Okay.
It's just how it kind of teases out big picture GIS once how everything kind of boils down to what actually has impervious area. Because again, like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, if someone owns, a quote unquote vacant land, which for whatever reason, maybe they bought it and it was vacant, and then they built, I don't know, a house or a garage or a something like that, they will have some impervious area associated with it, and then they will then pay their equivalent stormwater utility value. It will probably be just the one ERU single family rate, if I had to guess. Um, One of the things that I would like to do moving forward next year, we didn't have the budget this year to do it, is to do a little bit more of a deep dive into some of those kind of more nuanced site specific issues and go and look at some of those sites that are like, okay, there's 257 sites that are classified as vacant. And just kind of look through it and say, okay, well, how many of them actually have impervious area? And are there
Mhm.
any weird ones that stand out that have 20,000 square feet of impervious area? You know? Um, and then like kind of do some spot checks, look at it on an aerial view and say, well, is that true? Um, because what I want to do is do some checking to make sure we're not erroneously billing someone all of a sudden that says, hey, here's your bill for 10 ERUs or something like that. And they'll
Right.
say like, well, what are you talking about? It's a dirt road that's not mine, it's the town, something weird like that. So that's kind of like the last phase of this. And like one of the other things I want to do moving forward, which I think was another one of your questions, is get into those bigger multifamily developments.
Mhm.
So, because right now we kind of said, okay, if you're single family, you're this. If you're multifamily, we're going to assume like you're a
Sure. You're
duplex.
talking about like Arrive or Tri-Town, the apartment complexes.
The apartment
Yeah,
complexes,
yeah.
exactly. Yep, yep. And some of those I may need some assistance from you guys or from Bill or whoever, and simply send me a list of the ones that you know about because I'm not sure how easy, like from a GIS standpoint, we try to tie everything in with GIS. I don't know if you can easily pull those out of GIS.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I mean, there's probably not that many in town. There, maybe a dozen, 2 dozen, something like that of bigger apartment buildings, condo complexes.
So Nick, you're talking about residences, not big businesses like the Hannaford and Walmart. You're talking residential
Correct.
complex. Okay. Yeah, we don't
Correct.
have that
Residential.
many. Yep.
I wouldn't think so. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Residential complex. I feel pretty good about the larger commercial ones. We did have some time to kind of get into those. And I think at one point, I think I had pulled a list out of the top like 10 or 20 locations. And I don't remember what they were off the top of my head, but I think there was a Walmart and it's like a big gravel pit or something like that that's down there. Um, I don't
Heating?
remember.
Yeah, it's probably Keating.
Anything or
I
Powell.
think it
Yeah.
was. I,
Yeah.
I think it was, and there was like a Depot Road or something like that that had something. I don't know. In any case,
Okay.
we kind of had a chance to do that with the bigger commercial developments, but we haven't had a chance to go through some of the other land uses quite yet.
Okay. Um, can I go back to the vacant property? I just want to confirm. So there's 257 that are classified as vacant right now, but you don't know if any of them have impervious area yet.
We do. I have a very complex, not complex necessarily, but comprehensive spreadsheet, and I have all that information. What I don't have is like a kind of like a nice summary table. Like what I should do is take that kind of table 2-1 and have a sort of like a bigger version of it that says like this, how many actually have impervious area, and we have, like I said, I have that data. We've kind of done all the hard work. Like I've kind of done all the GIS exercises and exports and everything, and we just got to kind of pull the last of these pieces in to wrap everything up.
Because all the tables right now have all 257 vacant factored into the total revenue that we would get, right?
So
Like in
we have
table 2-1,
so
it has the
anything
percent
that
land use.
has so that must be, let me see. So we have 257
Mhm.
quote unquote vacant parcels, and I know that prior to that we removed, let's see.
I just want to know if it's been confirmed, these 257 do have some impervious area. And then the follow-up is, are they all similar, like equivalent to a single family, or do we need to
That
delineate more?
that part I don't know yet. That
Okay.
part I don't know the comparison to single family. Um I believe I believe those 257 vacant parcels have impervious area. Because if you go to table 3-2, there are 4,865 total parcels. And then
Yeah.
towards the bottom of the table, there's that water right of way are 100% pervious. There's 500 parcels we identified that were totally had no
Yeah.
impervious area. 77 town owned, and then 4 that were forested, um, which we identified may need a little bit of additional follow-up. So those 257 vacant parcels all have some impervious area. And again, I do want to go through that a little bit more in detail, just to check it. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
I have a silly basic question. What's your definition of impervious area?
So we use impervious area right from GIS. So whatever GIS kind of spits back at us, is what we use because it's publicly accessible. There's no like, kind of going back and forth on, well,
Well,
it's only a basketball court or whatever. So, my definition of impervious area is whatever MassGIS's definition of impervious area is.
so that's like yards, flat top, that kind of stuff.
My assumption is it is driveways, it is rooftops,
Okay.
decks, pool areas, et
Oh,
cetera, et
pools
cetera.
too? Okay.
That is my assumption.
Okay. I'm sorry, I've had like 10 minutes to look at the document, so
That's totally fine. I actually I tried to jump on my computer like a half hour earlier today to get more familiar with it, and then my computer decided to run updates and everything, so I wasn't even sure I was gonna make the
always.
meeting on time. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'm not on the board, I'm testing it out. So
oh, good.
Um,
Okay.
so you briefly touched on this when we were talking about apartments. Um, how are those going to be classified? Like we've got residential single family and multifamily. Do we have or do we need a different like category or how do we ascribe apartment complexes?
Um, I don't know yet. I want to classify them more than just a single family or a duplex because otherwise they're not going to be paying their fair share. Um, I don't know if we'll end up making them as a separate category or if we'll just lump them in with like commercial or something
Sure.
along those lines. Um, Either way, I mean they're going to be triggering more than just that single ERU. They're going to be falling into whatever their appropriate category would be. Um,
Hey, Tim,
so
Yes.
sorry, John just called. He was looking for the agenda to get to the Zoom, so keep an eye on the waiting room.
Yeah, will do.
He'll
Thank you.
be dialing in. Thanks.
So yeah, so eventually, just to answer your question, the multifamily, like if you go to table 3-3,
Yeah.
they will pay based off of whatever tier they are in.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I might have missed it because I saw John was calling. Um, we had a question, maybe this was the part I missed. What makes it a multifamily? We had asked, whether also there was one property tax bill I had in my notes. Is it simply, the code, the assessor's code 1020?
It's whatever is in GIS, yes.
So that goes by.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point though about the billing though. Who would, well, let's see.
I
Is
guess it
that
depends if it's a rental, right? If someone owns the owner will get, well, I don't know. I don't know. They get two tax bills, one for each unit. I don't know.
I mean it might depend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean maybe the easiest thing is they just pay one. You just pay one ERU. And if it happens that one owner owns both units, and you get paid once, and if it goes to the tenant, then you get paid twice. I mean, it's pretty small potatoes at that point.
Yeah, but I guess it does matter. So if you have a duplex, if it's a single owner, they pay whatever the one rate is. But if it's two separate owners, I don't know if we have any of those in town, but I certainly have come across it. Like they're condos, but it's a two-family. Do they each pay? Are they paying double for the same property?
Think about that. I didn't consider it from a billing standpoint.
I don't know. I don't think we're there yet. We're still trying to decide on the tiers and the rates, but yeah, eventually we'll get there.
Right.
Um, okay, so I understand the the vac, so we know we have 257 that all have some level of impervious. We don't know the level of detail and like the range of those properties, but that information exists that could be looked into. Is that a fair summation? Okay. Do you want me to ask another question?
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say the next thing I have here, we ran into some confusion on table 3.3. We're not sure if there was just a mix up in how the lines were addressed, but there seemed to be some confusion once we got to, I want to say it was tier 8. We kind of lost track of what the math was, what was happening.
Yeah, I think Nick, tell me if this is correct. Table 2.1, no, sorry, 3.1. That has the tier price for alternatives 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And table 3.3, that also has the tier price for alternatives 1, 2, 3, 4. Those should have the same numbers, correct?
They should have, in certain columns, yes, they should
The
have the
tier
same numbers.
price,
Yeah.
just looking at, $60, 75, and then it's for the single family and whatever tier of non-residential. Those should be the same numbers, right?
Yes. Yep.
They're not all the
They're not.
same. Yeah. So,
Alternative 1 matches.
yes. 2, 3,
Alternative
4.
2 does not. Wow.
2, 3. So I don't know which table. I think table
So
3.1 is correct.
wow, good catch on that. It's funny because I got that comment and I ran down it and I said, alternative 1 is fine. And then I ran across the bottom row for tier 10,
Yeah.
and I said it's fine. And I compared, but you're exactly right. The tier like 6 through like 9 for 2, 3, and 4.
Even tier 5, I think is off. What caught my eye was for tier 9, the price went down from alternative 1 to 2, and it definitely shouldn't go down.
Yes, you are exactly correct. And like I said, I checked that too, and I didn't check everything apparently. Yeah, we made some not last minute revisions to this, but we made some revisions, and I missed those. So I will fix that. You
So
are correct.
3.1 has the right numbers though?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
3.1 has the correct numbers.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Next thing I have here, we had some questions about the potential for additional tiers. So we did some square foot calculations with some of the locations in town. And what is it? Is it Lunenburg Crossing where Walmart and Hannaford's and a couple other stores are? And we found that they were. So for impervious area for tier 10, we have it as anything listed over 210,000 square feet. And I think what we found for that parking lot was it came in somewhere in like, I think 600 to 800 square feet. It was significantly more than what this capped out at. And we were wondering, I think we also compared to Chelmsford.
Hmm.
And the idea of what would it take or what kind of resistance do we think we would find in creating an additional tier over that at say like 400,000 square feet. Um, Related question to that, and this might do guide that question. Do you know how many tier 10 properties there are? Because we're not sure. We think there's only like 5 or 6 that we could kind of roughly estimate ourselves.
We have 5 within that tier right now.
5.
So
Okay.
if you go to 3-1, it shows a number of properties within each tier.
Oh yeah, sorry. We
Yeah.
did have that information, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't know what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
No, that's fine. I mean, I can add as many tiers as you want. I remember when we first met on this, I think Chelmsford has like 15 or 18 tiers, and we
18.
thought
Yeah.
that was too many. And then during an earlier iteration of this, I actually had the top tiers, I think, paying more.
Okay.
And I got feedback saying that you thought those bills were too high. Um, So I can do whatever you want. It does, I mean, if you just, it sounds like maybe you're just looking to add like one more tier, or a couple, like maybe two more tiers or something like that. I mean, you're gonna have very few parcels in it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the way it's currently structured in tier, I think we were trying to figure out the 5 properties in tier 10, right? And so we came to Arrive, Walmart, Unitil, Tri-Town, and the Leominster Shirley storage, which is relatively new. And just you looking at GIS acres, the range, if those are the 5, indeed the 5 properties, the range goes from 9 acres up to like 9.4 acres up to 48. Huge. Um, and so I think we were looking to kind of, I don't remember, I didn't write down a note. I don't think we decided we wanted to kind of make a tier 11, if you will, to capture the real big ones, like probably, I don't know, there's a 30, a 48, a 20 something. But I also have a note that the range of tier 9 is too large. Um, and I think by range I meant not the ERU range. Like the
Oh,
other, because the
sure.
other ones, yeah, that's it, right? So looking at the different tiers and the ERU range, you know, it's a smaller range, 8 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 25. Then it goes to 26 to 50 in tier 9. That's a pretty big range. And then 51 to 100 is obviously big, but there's 5.
Yeah, so I think maybe what I'm hearing is what I can do is I can take tiers 9 and 10
Yeah,
and make those two tiers into three.
it's, yeah, maybe narrow
And
tier 9.
I'll try and spread it out a little bit. So I'll
Yeah.
have say like 10 in tier 9 because there's 21 total. So if I have like 10 in
Yep.
tier 9 and 7 in tier 10 and 4 in tier 11 or something like that.
Yeah, can
I
we,
think that works.
I think we were also, do you guys remember? I think we were looking for the names, the actual properties in those like top tiers, 8, 9, 10 maybe, because that would be 37 properties total. Do you have like a sheet that has?
I do. So I think I have these. So what we are showing right now is number one is Walmart.
Yep.
Um, there's PJ Keating, which actually has a kind of a couple big ones, but PJ Keating was big. Um, Carousel Lane condos and commercial properties on Carousel Lane, obviously. Um, the Garden Center, Lunenburg Terminal. Um,
Which tier are these in?
these are the ones that we show as the as having the most ERUs.
So tier 10, those are the 5. Wow.
Yeah. And then from there, there's the Mackey Building Center, Aurora Plastics, a trucking center. It kind of goes down from there.
Mm,
I mean, I kind of looked at a bunch of these kind of, you know, satellite view, but I mean, they made sense.
yeah,
Powell Stone, there's a Mazda dealership, I guess. A couple strip malls. I mean, they made sense when I looked at them.
okay.
Is that roughly matching with what you were thinking? The properties?
I don't know. I don't think we could figure out the 5 non-residential
I didn't write them down. The only ones I remember was Walmart
Yep.
and the Unitil.
and the big
Uh,
storage, right, on Leominster Shirley.
oh, right. Yes.
Those are the only 3 non-residential I have, and then the big residential I have, I wrote down with Tri-Town and Arrive. And then we just tried to eyeball and kind of draw on the map and estimate the percent impervious surface just based on like building and parking lot, like what percent of the total lot.
I didn't see that one in my top. I'll add a note to look at that one.
It may not, it probably isn't. It's not going to be in tier 10. Because according to the GIS, the acreage is like 16. And then
Oh,
what
is it?
percent is impervious? I don't know.
Sure.
16. But would it be possible for us to get a list of what do you guys think? Tiers 8, 9, 10?
Sure, yeah.
I'm in full agreement with that. I like that idea a lot. It's not that many properties.
Exactly. I'm trying to balance, and those are, I think the upper end is where we need to do a little more tweaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I got to talk with Bill, because we had to get a contract in place for next fiscal year, which will have this in it.
Oh, okay. That starts
Um,
Tuesday,
I know it's crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
We usually end up having kind of like a couple months where we have some funding that kind of rolls over, and
Okay.
but usually ends up being a little bit of time. Oh, I'll reach out to you guys later. What we typically have done in the past is this task has been on notice to proceed, so we don't automatically have authorization to proceed. And I think what we've done previously is we've kind of met and you've said like, yeah, we want CEI to do this, and then it gets authorized. But I don't remember if that was only when Heather was town administrator, town manager. How long has she been gone for now?
It'll be a
Year and a
year in
half?
August, yeah.
Year?
Yeah. Yep.
So she was here when we executed our contract last time.
If it was, yeah, last July,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's
She had already given
Right.
notice, but she gave us 60 days, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was kind of like one of her last things is she left, and she authorized right before we left. So
Okay.
or she left, but and refresh my memory. Do you have a new TA in place now?
We have, yeah, new town manager, Jen Warren Diamond, so we have full-time now,
Okay.
town
Oh,
manager.
good.
so,
How
Yeah,
long has Jen been here for now?
February?
Oh, okay, not that long.
has
Okay.
she been here
think.
that long? Okay.
I think she started in February. It's all a blur. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but independent of that, Nick, if you already have, if you have the work in the spreadsheet, are you able to?
Of course.
Okay, just for those 3 tiers, that'd be great. Because I think I need to take better notes. I'm trying to remember back. Were we thinking about um maybe combining like for the lower tiers, alternative 1, higher tiers, alternative, kind of a hybrid?
Oh, yes. We discussed the idea of like, just as an example here, I'm going to say like, you know, uh, tiers 1 through let's say 3, like single family, multifamily, and some of the smaller ones using like alternative 1. And then when you get to the higher tier items like 8, 9, and 10, using like
Mm.
let's say alternative 3. Um, but we're not sure like the feasibility of that or what it does since this is technically being charged as a per ERU. Like if we'd run into issues with trying to say like, yes, it's this price for a smaller ERU, but once you get beyond a certain level of ERUs, then they become more expensive.
Let me think about that. I mean, you probably can. I'm sure you can play with it. I mean, it doesn't nothing. It doesn't have to be based on strictly ERU. I mean, you can just say like, all right, this is where you're at. If you're within this range of impervious area, you pay this much.
Okay.
If you're in the area, you pay this much, and you can pick and choose and as need be.
So Nick, do you have experience, like, have you seen a town that has done something like what we're throwing around here?
Everyone does it a little bit differently. I mean, like Amesbury just enacted one that we kind of helped with, and they every user pays $25 a quarter.
Doesn't matter how much
Doesn't matter if you're
impervious?
Walmart or if you
Oh,
live in a condo.
how did that go over? I mean, I guess if it's so low, who cares? But
Yeah, I mean, they just said that they needed funding so badly that they just wanted to get something in place. Anything at all in place was going to be more money funding and better than what they had in place previously.
because I think the way I'm thinking, I think the way we're all thinking about it maybe is Bill's got, a budget to support all the work that has to be done to mitigate stormwater, right?
Mhm.
And so we're trying to have fund that budget through the
Correct.
utility. So we have a target number to hit. How we get there, who contributes how much to get to that target. Is that fair, guys? Do you think that's
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
okay? So we're kind of reverse engineering fee structure in a way. But it's not just arbitrary. Let's just charge everyone $25. We'll just charge everyone 50. There's actually like a goal we're trying to hit to fund this, to do the work.
Right, right. No, we could look at that. I mean, you just assign each tier just gets assigned
It's kind
a
of like a
a
weighted
dot.
thing, right?
Right, right. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do it so that it basically follows,
Yep.
instead of linear, right? You can do it so
Yes.
it sort of goes
Yeah.
on a
Oh,
curve.
like a progressive income tax, like up until this set of ERUs, it costs
Mhm.
this much. Every ERU beyond that costs. Yeah, okay.
It's almost like you get, all right, you're in there's no penalty for being in the bottom four tiers, and then you're in tier five, you get a 5% penalty, then you get a 10% penalty, then you get a
Yeah, we don't want to
15%
call it a penalty
So,
though.
well, I mean, oh, I
This
know.
is
And we're being recorded. Oh no.
yeah. Yeah, I know.
I know. That's right. You
Okay.
can blame it on me. I said it.
Yeah, this is the socialization of this.
I'm
It's
kind of not in favor of that because I think the bigger tiers are gonna end up paying a lot of money. So to like hit that with like an extra percentage because they're big, it's gonna like really be a shock, sticker shock. So
but
that's
I think it's um they have a bigger bucket to pull from as well. So
yeah, but if they go from paying nothing to paying like 1,500 to 2,000 a month, that's a big shock.
No, it would be a year or a quarter,
yeah,
not a month.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
multiply it
and
by
our,
3. It's
yeah,
six
and we're
thousand
looking
dollars
at
a
like
quarter.
Walmart and Arrive.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
Amesbury passed $25 a quarter to everybody, no problem.
I'm sorry,
Far as
what was
I'm
that?
aware.
I think that's a big idea.
Because Amesbury, $25 a quarter is like the upper level of what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's the max that we had proposed at the
Yeah.
town meeting.
Yeah, I believe it was 25. I think it was 25 a quarter.
Did they get a lot of pushback on that? You know,
I don't think
I can
they,
go look at
no,
their
no.
meetings.
I don't believe we sort of did it. We ended up having a subcontractor that pretty much did it. So we were less involved than I have been in some of these other ones, but I don't think there were that many issues. I mean, I think they just lumped it in with their sewer bill or the water and sewer bill. So it just was kind of like another line item at the bottom, and you know, it can be a
Oh.
little bit easier, I think, to get through that in some ways.
does anyone
Um,
notice a $25 charge on their water bill this
Come on,
quarter?
Will.
Come on
Same.
now.
For the Mass Ave project? It's a
I've never
$25
noticed that my
charge.
water bill is a lot bigger than that. And a lot of
Right.
people don't have water bills. That's the other thing. They just get a stormwater bill, for example.
Well, let's go on the property tax bill, we think. Which is of course a lot more than $25 a quarter.
And I think that makes more sense because we have a lot of issues with the sewer bills being paid
Oh, I'm not
attention
saying to
to.
put it on the bill. I'm just saying in terms of thinking about, would you notice a $25 charge? We're already getting it. We have one example where it's being done now.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting putting it on the water bill. It has to go on the property tax. If it's not separate.
Do you pay taxes quarterly or twice a year?
Quarterly.
Quarter.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We do twice a year, but I'm in New Hampshire. I don't know. Maybe it's different.
You have tax?
Property tax. Oh,
Yeah.
property taxes.
That's
We
the
got
only
lots
tax
of
you have.
we got lots of property taxes.
So do we. Lots of taxes. Okay. Can I ask another? I just saw something in my note, not to backtrack, but on the vacant. We found a category vacant with improvement that has a code 1060. And there's a code 1310 vacant land potential. I don't know if either of those factor are in the list of 257. Do you know what these codes are?
I was going to ask you when you say code, are those
Yeah.
what are those?
I what is it's a code, like I know single family is code 1010. When I look at like the property tax, there's a code listed in the table, and I can pull out single families 1010, multifamilies code 1020. What's the name of it though? It's some kind of code, but I just call it code.
These were from the GIS, correct?
I
Our
think
data
they're
is-
listed
They're on the
GIS.
GIS.
They're in like on our property card.
Uh,
I'm pretty sure
yes.
they're on the property card too.
Yes.
This all came up, during the Board of Assessors tax thing. I just had a note that we had noticed that there were different kinds of vacant land codes, I guess you'd call them. Vacant with improvement and vacant land potential. I don't know if one indicates it has impervious area already. Maybe with improvement means they put a shed on it. I don't know. So that doesn't ring a bell, Nick. No, you didn't use these land codes at all.
Yeah, let's see. I'm just going through my spreadsheet we have. So we have a list of codes 10 10 10 10 20 10 30 10
that's it.
40 10
Yeah.
50.
Okay.
So we have those. I don't know what they mean.
I had to Google them, but I
Yeah,
know the
I
1010 is single family. What's a vacant? Do you have the vacant codes there?
Hold on. Vacant.
It might be an easy way to identify.
Vacant are looks like they're the 1300s. 1300, 1310, 1320.
Okay. No
It
1060.
looks
So
it looks
1060 is vacant with improvement because
Yeah.
my garage is on a lot that's considered vacant with improvement, and that's 1060.
Yeah. I would expect some 1060s to be on the list of that 257. These codes may be an easy way to identify the different types of properties if we need to.
well, yeah, what I will do
Or
is
way to double check them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let me do some
Okay.
research into them.
So Jenny, do you get a separate property tax bill for that?
I do. It's very, very little,
Yeah, okay.
like $17 a quarter or something.
Yeah. So you get two bills.
I do. So I'll have two utility bills, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Do you have to write two checks then?
I mean, my mortgage pays it, but yeah, I don't know how they do
well.
that.
I get two bills too, and it's even smaller. It's like, I don't know, the previous owner had a little corner that she actually owns. That's in addition to the lot, but the bill is like 33 cents a quarter. But the stamp costs more. It costs more for the town to mail.
Well, it could end up being $25.33 a quarter at some point.
Don't say that. It's literally, you couldn't even put a picnic table on it, I think. But I paid in one, pay write one check.
Can you just write one check if you have two
Yeah,
parcels? Okay. I thought that might be confusing, but again, I don't write the checks. It just goes through my
yeah.
mortgage. It's much easier.
That's the list of questions I have, but I know my list wasn't comprehensive, so I'm not sure if anybody had additional questions that they wanted to address.
So did we cover all the questions that Bill had sent you, Nick?
That's what I'm looking at right now. And I believe we did. Oh, what are your thoughts on the nonprofits? That was the only other one.
Oh,
I'm a
Um,
big fan of they should contribute.
Okay.
It should be included in the tax base.
Yeah. I think our position was like they pay for water, they pay for sewer. Like this falls in, they pay for electricity. This falls into the same category.
Yep.
Yep.
Your
Right, okay.
infrastructure maintenance, yep.
and they pay property tax, right?
Uh,
Do they? Otherwise, how are they gonna get a bill?
Are churches considered a nonprofit or is that something different? I can't remember.
No, I was wondering the same thing.
I guess what I would have to, yeah. I guess I would need to look. I'm not, that might be a question for the assessor. I'm not sure if, I say nonprofits, but it's really tax exempt. And I'm not sure if they're
Hmm.
one and the same.
I think that would be different because, well,
Listed
are
on
the
here, it's
tax
tax exempt.
exempt also exempt from property tax, or is that just federal tax and maybe state tax?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't either.
I don't either.
I don't know. I mean, I think,
Like the chapter 61, I'm thinking of chapter 61 land, which is probably doesn't have impervious anyway. But you
Right.
just pay they pay a reduced property tax on that kind of land, right?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think it's just reduced. I think they still, but if they change anything or try to, if we find out that they have been doing anything different with it, then you can actually go back and tax them the real tax rate. So yeah, they definitely have a reduced tax rate.
Nick, what falls into the unknown or miscellaneous? There's 17 properties there.
unknown, 17 properties. I don't know. Unknown.
Ah,
They're probably properties that don't have a code or something for whatever reason, or for some reason are unclassified, and not I'm not sure why that would be. Yeah, there's 17 there are
Yeah.
17 parcels that basically almost every field is blank. And they have, like, this is another thing I want to go look at. Like their impervious area is like like 0 basically. So I don't know, they may be weird parcels that like just have almost whatever, I don't know, that maybe they're like that weird little triangle piece that you own.
Yeah.
if could we get a list of those as well, just so we can kind of investigate into them a little bit?
Yeah, I can send that over to you as well, but I actually made a note as well while we were talking, and I want to look through some of these values of impervious area as well, and see, are there property, like your triangle property was made me think of it. Are there properties on this list that are showing as being like 1 square foot of impervious area
Ugh.
that we want to exclude? You know, I don't want to be billing someone if they have, you know, I don't I don't
Yeah.
want to be billing Jenny for the
Oh
triangle
no,
of
Jenny has to
property.
pay for the garage.
I don't mind.
Oh, the garage, right.
Yeah.
But I want to look at that too. So
Okay.
let me, before I send you the vacants at least, let me go those weird
Okay.
ones, because I'm just looking at my spreadsheet right now,
Okay.
and it looks like they're like, I mean, like I said, the impervious area is like 0.001.
Huh.
Yeah, hey, Nick, I have a
Yep.
question for you.
Mhm.
I'm curious. You may not know the answer to this, you may. So so the stormwater, what else does it service besides the roads and the parking lots associated with all the properties? Anything else?
What can the town use the funding for, you mean?
No, no, so the stormwater infrastructure that we have, what else does it drain besides the runoff from the roads and the parking structures on the properties? Is there any other purpose it serves? Or is it strictly for impermeable surfaces?
Well, I mean, the intent, I think, largely is for the impervious surfaces. So it's roads, it's driveways, rooftops.
Okay, so anything impervious, it really is for impervious. So how much impervious surface is there associated with all of the town roads? I'm curious. Do you have any idea? Who would know that?
I don't know, but I could get you that answer. We have the
Really?
data.
I'd
It's a
love
lot.
that information. I'm curious to know how much impervious surface there is in these top tier properties and compare that to how much impervious surface area there is in the town and all the roads. I'm curious to see. So if we're gonna justify this, like one way of selling it to the town in my mind is to say that there's all these property owners that have all this impervious area that really aren't paying a lot of tax. They're sort of getting a free ride. And this is a way of tapping into that resource and minimizing the financial burden on the town people. So I think that might be a legal, credible way to sell this. And I'd kind of like to come up with that information.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thought. Like I said, I have that data available in GIS. I would just have to tease it out of my
Right? Is that something
many
we could ask you to
my
do, or do you need money to do that? It's part of the,
my many we can do that.
I would
I
love
can
that
look.
information.
Yeah, yeah, I can get you a number. I mean, I can't guarantee it's going to be, down to the hundredth
You could,
decibel.
you could make the assumption that how many miles of road there are that the town owns. I'm assuming the state, like two-way, I'm assuming the state takes care of that. We don't take care of that.
That would be state, correct?
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I can have my GIS person
We
run a
plow
query.
it
We
though.
You can tell me how long the roads are in all the town, assume they're 30 feet wide, and that gives me a number.
I can have my GIS person run a GIS query, and he'll do it in like 20 minutes, and he'll give me
All
a
right.
number.
All right. I would love that
Yeah.
information.
Like I said, I can't guarantee it's going to be, 100% accurate, but percentage wise, it will be there.
If you're 25% accurate, I'd say that's a win-win.
Hopefully, I can be better than that.
Okay. Awesome.
So John, we can get the total number of miles of roads in town.
Same
That's
information as far as I'm concerned.
online. Yeah.
All right. If you show me how to do it, I'll do the research.
I looked it up at one point. If I can't pull it up, I know Bill will have it at his fingertips.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it because
Yeah.
I'll have my
Okay.
GIS person run a
All
quick
right.
query because I'll have him give you how much impervious area on town roadways, how much impervious area on town properties like town hall and stuff like that, and how much impervious area is privately owned.
Yeah. All that all that information sounds fantastic to me. We can start to put together pie charts and sort of show how the funding is distributed and what share the upper tiers will have. And because really right now I'm assuming they're paying very little compared to their share of impermeable area. And if we try to rebalance things, then we can kind of use the numbers to justify why it makes sense to charge them more money. I think people would like that.
I'm not sure. I don't think we addressed this, but maybe I just misunderstood something we went through. Do we know what the difference between a tax exempt property and a fee exempt property is? I'm not sure if I know what the difference between those are. Like tax exempt is 41 properties, fee exempt is 581 properties.
Do I say fee exempt?
Mm-hmm.
Table 2-1.
Yeah.
Fee exempt. So I say fee exempt once. 581. So this goes back to the ones that have no impervious area.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if you go to table 3-2, those three rows at the bottom,
Right.
water, all pervious, town owned, or I guess those forested ones. Those are those same 581.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, I think as far as we know, that's all the questions we have. Nick, what do you think is important for us to know at this juncture? Anything that we might be missing or where we should be focusing our attention?
What are your next steps on this, and what is your time frame? Like, and by that I mean, like, are you looking to where? So say I'm done with this next week.
Yeah.
I won't be, but say I'm done with it next week. What are you gonna then do with it? Do you think?
I think our next steps here is to kind of start trying to get this in the public's hands and get some discourse from the public about what they feel and basically at this point it's going to be advertising and talking with the public and kind of creating that dialogue.
Mhm.
Um, that's kind of the next major set of steps once we have kind of a concrete thing of what we like and what it looks like, something that we can present and then iterate
Mm,
on with the
okay.
public.
Did you mention to him
Have
that Bill presented this at the town meeting recently?
No,
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
I
so
was
we go ahead.
I was gonna ask you if you've gone before the Board of Selectmen on this.
no. Not yet.
All right, well, two things. I mean, it may be worth at least getting in front of the board, even just to let them know if they don't already know, which they probably do, but um well, do they know? I mean, they must know.
They
Well, all
do.
right, let me back up. What did Bill present on at town meeting? And what was the reaction?
It was very light. My 2 cents. It was very light. Wasn't a lot of detail there. Just the basic facts. There were, I think, 2 or 3 people that came forward, and one of them explicitly says, "I'm not going to pay the tax because no water runs off my property." And somebody else brought up an issue that was unrelated to stormwater.
Yeah.
That was my impression.
Yeah, we had a comment as John was saying of like, no water leaves my property, and another person saying, I don't think I should pay this because all the water ends up on my
Yes.
property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is a good argument for the stormwater because if you want us to get rid of it, fund it.
Yeah.
right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just to touch briefly on that wanting an exemption because nothing runs off your property. I mean, there are communities that will allow that. But what we have talked about previously is the town needs to have a mechanism in place to allow those sort of exemptions and waivers, whatever you are, whatever they are, whatever we call them. And there's time and labor that would be associated with that because someone's going to there has to be an application process, and someone from the town's going to have to go look at it and say, yeah, you're correct, nothing goes on your property.
Yeah.
Do
I
you have
think,
example boilerplate documents that what other towns have done? So we can kind of use that as a
Um,
guideline?
I haven't personally done that. But let me see what I can dig up.
I'm I have hesitation about offering exemptions. One, it's kind of a little qualitative. I think it's hard to put hard metrics on who gets the exemption, who doesn't. Um, the overhead of looking into it, and probably it's not just a one-time thing. It's probably something you need to check on to make sure it still qualifies as an exemption, right? Whatever they have in place, is it still working properly?
sure.
And John, you've said in the past, well, everyone drives on town roads. Everyone is benefiting from this.
And my message got through. Love hearing it. I agree 100%.
I think you might have said that
resident.
once, twice, or 100 times. I don't know.
I don't want to give anybody who's a resident an exemption. It's not a lot of money, and everybody drives on the roads to get to
Yeah.
Walmart to buy their stuff, and Hannaford to buy their groceries, and drive their kids to school and pick them up. And
Yeah.
Right.
So my own personal, I don't want to spend a lot of time on thinking about an exemption because someone would have to convince me because
Yeah, I mean, I
really
think I
don't
would.
know.
What we talked about previously, I think, is we would get this in place first, and
Yeah.
then kind of cross that bridge. I mean, the problem is the money kind of needs to come from someplace. So if 20% of your people get an exemption, then the other 20% indirectly, in some capacity or other, are going to end up having to kick in that extra 20%.
I
Um,
think it's a lot of unnecessary overhead.
Yeah.
I
It's
agree.
gonna drive us crazy chasing down all these exemptions, but
it's-
really
it-
don't want to go down.
yes.
that.
Yes, correct, exactly.
We're not, we're,
100,
I mean, we did present, part of Bill's presentation, right, was to present the only numbers we threw out was, yes, it's going to be a surcharge and it will be, under, I forget what we landed on, a certain amount, like under $100 a year or something. I
yeah,
don't remember what we said for the single family, home,
right, right.
but it
But
was
yeah,
very high level.
right. I mean, it's everyone has a single family house is going to pay $90 a year. And yes, you're correct. Okay, maybe your stormwater doesn't go onto the town property, but you know, exactly. You drive to Walmart on town roads, you drive to Hannaford on town roads. You like to not be in sinkholes because your catch basin's collapsed.
Hmm.
Which happens in Hickory Hills. One of our culverts, after like 20, 30 years, sank. So they had to replace it.
Right.
Um,
All right.
I think the goal was, we want, so yeah, I mean, we have to, so I'm on the select board. But we want to go before, select board. Who else did we plan on going before?
Finance,
Finance, were we going conservation? I don't remember.
I don't ever remember
What do
talking
you
about
think?
conservation.
Okay. Just select board and finance. Okay, but then also we have our fall town meeting in November. Because I think the goal was to, oh, this is gonna be such a bad year. To propose this at annual town meeting in 2026. Was that our,
I
that was
think-
our initial goal.
Yeah.
Are we still on board with that being our goal?
I
I
think so.
think so.
Is the annual
Okay.
town meeting November or is that in the
The
that's
annual
the
town
spring
meeting's
again,
in
right?
May.
Okay. Oh
We
yeah,
have two,
I
we
would
have May and November.
okay. Is November a special town meeting? Or
Yeah.
is it you just always okay.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, I would think certainly by May we'd be ready to go.
Yeah.
but
I
there's a
think-
lot of PR
I would
and
think by
education
like
that has to be done, right?
yeah, I would say the goal would be by say like New Year's. We are 100% done. And then you do, it gives you 3 months, 4 months to do a PR push.
There's gonna be a lot of budget PR pushing.
Yeah.
But I think, what do you guys think? We should probably plan on giving maybe a little bit deeper or detailed update in November?
I think so. I
Absolutely.
think we give a further kind of update. We kind of break things down a little bit for the public and we really try and push, like, get involved, talk to us about this. What do you want to see to make it something that you can support?
And do we want to go before select board and finance before the November town meeting?
My
think so.
personal thought would be yes.
Okay, I
Agree.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say even if it's not necessarily 100% final, at
Oh,
least
yeah.
if we can come up with this is what we anticipate it generate. This is our dollar amount we're targeting to generate under this. This is what we think the average homeowner is going to pay.
Mhm.
I mean,
I
let's
think
be
that-
honest, the average homeowner is not going to care what Walmart has to pay.
Really.
I don't know. Some
A lot
people
of money
want,
coming from the businesses. They have a big area, big ERUs or whatever it is.
just thinking for the town boards and committee presentations, they're probably going to be, well, I guess the people in town will be interested as well, but the details of how, not so much how are we gonna collect this money, but how will it be used? So Bill's budget, Bill's plan for how this money will be used.
Sure.
So that's,
So he already gave us like a capital equipment list that he wants to.
yeah, he's got a plan. Yeah, I'll have to flesh it out, I think, in
Mhm.
more detail, because FinCom will probably ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, but It would be nice if he added detail to it, like a specific project and how much he estimates it'll cost. But he doesn't know exactly how much it'll cost until the civil engineers do their assessment, do their
Mhm.
job. But you're right, it'd be nice to have that information, that's all, I agree.
And for selling to the, publicizing it to the town, it's, these are the types of projects that it could be used for. These have been the issues, Bill's got plenty of pictures showing
Yeah.
damage and issues.
Yeah, and he
Right.
just did Mulpus. I mean, I drive by it on my way
Yep.
to work every day. There, it was shut down for a week and he did a lot of work there. So he's
Um,
actively doing stormwater management.
All right.
Okay,
That sounds good. So I will have our GIS person run a query on some of those impervious area public-private ownership numbers, and I'll get that back to you. It might bleed till after the 4th. He's kind of busy right now, if that's okay. But I can get it to you in a couple of weeks.
okay.
Our next
Um,
meeting won't be until, the end of July, so.
Okay, yeah, and I'll get you the list that we show right now of those larger impervious areas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
think those.
tiers 8, 9, and 10.
Yep, yeah, and I think those were the only two sort of immediate things I have on my list, and then I got a bunch of revisions we'll make moving forward over the summer and fall on the stormwater utility itself, just to kind of button everything up. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think we're close.
So Nick, what's your experience on success rate of first time proposing this? For-
It seems like it's a lot better now than it was like 20 years ago. Um, it seems like there's a lot more understanding lately. We've had
I
some
mean,
bad flooding years.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
having Leominster,
Yep,
absolutely flood out definitely caught people's attention.
yep.
So, I mean, I remember when I mean, I've been with CEI now for 17 years. I mean, I remember like 10, 15 years ago, we were working on these and like they would just die. Like you'd get it done and ready to go. And then the mayor would say like, nope, not this year. It's an election year. And then, so it wouldn't go. And then the new mayor, they lose, the new mayor would come in and new mayor would say, I'm not proposing this. I'm brand new in office. Are you crazy? And then it would just wither and die, or there was the financial crisis in 07, 08, 09 that no one wanted it. And like I said, now it seems like more recently with having some of these, we had like 2 bad years, not last year, I don't think, because last year it didn't rain at all, but 2 years ago it rained like all the time and everyone was underwater.
Mhm.
And I think having those events more fresh in people's minds has made people a little bit more understanding.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think you just gotta emphasize and say, hey, it's a dedicated funding source to improve stormwater and drainage. I mean, you have a dedicated, well, you don't, but towns have a dedicated funding source for sewer infrastructure, a dedicated one for drinking water.
Oh, we do, yeah.
So,
Hmm.
okay.
All right. Thank you, Nick. This has been
Anything
a
else for
big help.
Yeah, great. Definitely sounds good. Okay, yeah. So you'll be hearing from me in the next, week or two on those couple things. And in the meantime, I'll be working with Bill to get our contract in place, just so
Sure.
Yeah,
starting for this coming fiscal year, and we will finish it up.
Sounds
good,
good.
thanks.
Cool.
Thanks.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you all for your time. Have a nice night.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, you too.
So, all right. That was pretty good. The only other thing, unless anybody has something particular they want to talk about, the only other thing I've got here is our meeting minutes for the 29th. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to review them or not. If you need a couple minutes, that's fine.
Oh, we got those by email, right? I forgot to look at them.
Yes.
Um, why can I not
Oh,
find?
hang on a second.
I don't, yeah, it's not popping
I
up.
might have put it on the agenda, but no, you're right. I don't. Okay, I will investigate what has happened there and um I will put that on the next agenda then.
I feel like I saw them. Am I losing my mind?
I could have
can't-
sworn I did too, because I put them on
I
the
swore
agenda.
I did too, because I was like, oh, she figured out how to get it from Teams. But no, that's the last one I see is March
April, right?
24th.
Yeah. I just did a
Means I'm
search
at-
on my email and it's not popping up. I don't think I deleted, so.
Weird.
I don't think we all deleted it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the last one I have from her is 5/5. So,
Yeah,
she's usually very quick too.
she is.
Oh,
Yeah.
but they didn't go up for a couple of weeks because I think because we did it on Teams, I noticed that it popped up on the public access. I think it took about 2.5 weeks. So I
Okay.
wonder if maybe we lost visibility on it. Maybe somebody should reach out.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay, well, we will check into that and we will put that on our next agenda then.
okay. Um, I'm just mapping things out in my head. If we want to go to the November meeting, present to select board and FinCom before that, we might have to meet more than once a month for a month or something. We might have to
Sure.
squeeze in an extra meeting sometime.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
And with
fine. We can,
vacations, it could get tight.
yeah.
Um,
Did we vote on it?
hmm?
Did we vote on it?
July, August, September, October, November. Do we want to put in place like a target for when we want to go in front of select board and finance?
Yeah. I think we want to go before them early enough to
Like
take
September,
feedback
October?
and incorporate it into whatever we're gonna present at the November town meeting, right?
Yeah,
Um, so late September, early October. I don't know, when is I should know, when is our November meeting? Uh, I think it's early November, right? Isn't it usually?
I believe so.
I'd have to look, I can't. Yeah.
All right, well, I'll
Cause I
put
know
it
those
down.
boards, the agendas are gonna get tight for them too.
Sure. I put it down for September-ish at
Okay,
the moment, and we'll kind of take that as our target.
yeah.
So we've got July, August, September.
I don't think there's a lot, I feel like we don't have a lot of decisions to make, just the final tier structure and fee structure.
Yeah. And if Nick gets us that information, then we should be able to sort a lot of that out at our next meeting.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
then how about we have our next meeting? I've got 17th of July as our third Thursday.
Uh-huh.
At that meeting, we kind of incorporate together everything else that Nick gives us, and we come to a final decision on if we want to squeeze in some extra meetings.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, good.
All right, so the 17th, good.
All right, I will get that all together then. All right, excellent. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to address? If not, I will totally accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second,
All right, moved and seconded. I think we need to do a roll call vote since we're on Zoom.
Yep.
Renee,
aye.
John,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
And an aye from myself. All right. Wonderful. That has been the June 26th meeting of the Stormwater Task Force.
All right.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you,
Have a good
everybody. You
night.
guys have a good
Everyone,
night.
see ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. We'll